I'm bringing the shelter in place realist right now because I meant to shower before this, but I have not. Oh, hi. I think that's RJ's dad. Hi. I haven't done my hair and makeup since March 12th, and that's relevant because this is going to be all about being at home with kids during this time and what that looks like with like mental health and trying to address academics and relationship dynamics. Hi, Isa. While you're all at home. I'll give everyone a minute to get here if anyone is coming. But yeah, I was just saying this is like the real view because I just worked out. I haven't showered. And you're welcome for not having smell-o-vision.
Don't forget, guys, mustache challenge. All gents and ladies are welcome to join. Mustache challenge. Gents, ladies, and siblings.
Don't do it.
Rise to the challenge.
Don't do
Who
it.
can grow the most fashionable mustache?
Keep your spouse happy. Don't neglect your grooming right now.
Must I ask you?
No, you must not. Okay, I'm gonna get going. Forgive me. This is just kind of some of my stuff from my background, which I do actually I actually have a background in early childhood special ed and elementary education, and I was a social worker too, so I have a lot of experience in mental health. And I recognize that for a lot of us, we're going into our third week right now, so you may have kind of found your groove. You may have a routine that's working, but I just want to share a few little insights, some tools that I've used, and if you have any questions, chime in whenever you want. I'll do my best to answer or refer you to a site that might be helpful.
Sometimes the comments you can't see during the chat.
It takes a minute for them to come through.
So if ask your questions away, and then we'll just answer it after we close the chat too.
I'm Elliot's wife, Jenny. I haven't met some of you. I am the backside of our business. Oops, I'm trying to wave at someone that's not working. If you've sent an email, I probably answered it. I do all the billing, membership stuff, so I know a lot of names, but I don't always know the faces. Our kids are 7 and 5. They are in 2nd and kindergarten, and they are active little people. They do sports all year round. We're super invested in our school community, which has kind of trickled over into our sports community, and obviously our jiu-jitsu community. So being at home is a unique experience. We're pretty dependent on our social interactions. So we're all here together. Some people might have a spouse that is considered essential and is still working away from home. Some people are working from home and parenting 24/7. And shout out to you, because that is a giant undertaking. The first thing I wanted to address is kind of the academic side of things, and that I'm on all the mom groups, all the school groups. I'm getting all the stuff flooded in my newsfeed the same as the rest of you, and there's a lot of talk about homeschooling, and now we're all homeschoolers. And I just kind of wanted to share some thoughts on that, because secretly we're not really homeschooling right now. Homeschool involves having a curriculum that you are following at home under the guidance of an educator. It's something that you do with intention, and you usually plan it out ahead of time. You don't get told that tomorrow you're not going to go to school anymore. So we're not really homeschooling. So if you're seeing a lot of stuff about, like, this is what homeschool is and this is what you should do, don't feel pressured by that, because we're not homeschooling right now. We're kind of like crisis learning at home, crash course learning at home. So free yourself of the burden of calling what you do homeschool, because it's not really. And if you are already a homeschooler, then you're so well prepared, and you should share what you know, because if people did this on a whim, it's not really the same as when you plan out your homeschool. The other term that's getting thrown around is distance learning. Your district may be doing that. Ours is not. Legally, They cannot teach anything new until they can guarantee everyone has access. We are in San Juan Unified, so tomorrow they are doing Chromebook distribution for anyone who needs one, which is cool. They want to make sure every single kid in the house has access to internet, so they are providing free internet, they're providing Chromebooks. So I suspect that next week our district will move to what we're actually calling distance learning, where teachers are going to be implementing actual assignments, asking for things to be due. I'm super intrigued to see how that goes, and a little bit dreading it because we kind of have a routine going, but I'm open to whatever. Versus what we're like, so we have homeschooling, distance learning, and then what we're doing right now, which is school at home, kind of. And my point in talking about the differences in the three is that you should be forgiving of yourself during this time. Give yourself grace. If something doesn't work today, change it tomorrow. You can be, learning at home can be so much more intentional than what we do in a school day. A school day, my kids go to school 8:30 to 3. That's 6.5 hours. That 6.5 hours incorporates the social aspect of school, recesses, lunchtime, working together on things. It incorporates one person trying to teach the learning styles of many different kids. In our kids' class, it's 26. And so they need that 6.5 hours. You don't have to be doing 6.5 hours or 6 hours of school. K through second, maybe an hour, 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on your kid. Getting up from third to fifth grade, you could be doing like 3 or 4 hours. And then in middle school, it gets a little different. And you can kind of be a little more individualized, and they're learning by subject. So you can get a little more particular, but it can be so much more intentional. School does not have to be at a table. School does not have to be on a piece of paper. It does not have to be in a workbook. You can ask your kids what they want to learn about, and you can incorporate all the different subjects into those things that they like. So the first thing that I did with our kids is something that you might have seen them do at school, which is want to know, learned, or they call it KWL. You make 3 columns on a page, list the things you know. So this would be things that they just learned at school. So for our second grader, they've been doing a lot of marine, like ecology and biology stuff. He talked on his list, he included math subjects that he knew. And then in the want to know category would be things that they want to learn about. It could be Ty put all things related to baseball. He had like pitching, he had how glass is made. Hannah had how shirts are made and how baby dolphins are born. At least we have a wide variety. And maybe at the end of this, whatever length of time that we're doing school from home, you would fill in the third column, which is learned. So you might be able to say what you were able to cover in this time. I thought I would be using those lists a lot, and really I'm just kind of touching on them here and there, but at least we'll be able to kind of check things off when we finish up. Again, some people have just joined us. If you want to ask any questions, you're welcome to. If you want to vent, if you want to share things that have worked for you, if you are drinking wine right now, whatever is working.
5 o'clock somewhere.
It is 5 o'clock somewhere. And you know what? Even if it's not, that's okay too. As we talk about the actual academic stuff, mental health is really important right now. There's so many dynamics involved in people being at home 24/7 with no break. I kind of think as we have gone into the third week, we're sort of getting used to it. I don't feel I think the first week I felt very like, there's nothing breaking up my time with my kids. And even Ty said, there's so much togetherness one night. And that was pretty accurate. It's important to acknowledge that there's going to be regressions. You're going to think, oh my gosh, my kid normally does X, Y, and Z things. Why can't he do that now? It's because it's stressful, because it's different, because you're the person asking them to do it and not their teacher. And that applies to everything. I swear our kids want to eat 24/7 right now. And I've reminded them, you go to school in the morning with breakfast in your belly, you have a snack time, you have a lunch time, and then when you come home you have snack, and somehow you're okay. So we're going to use our school tummies today. And about a week ago, I started saying we're going to have breakfast, snack, lunch, and snack, because otherwise there's just a constant asking for snacks. I think it's important to acknowledge that each week things are going to change. I have learned in the past 2.5 weeks that by Friday, my expectations need to be very low. And as the approaching Monday comes, my expectations for the week need to be a little more flexible than the week before. If you watch our live jiu-jitsu classes, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the Friday one's kind of funky because the kids are over it. We've kind of kept them on a Monday through Friday routine where my alarm still goes off at the normal time. We keep our breakfast routine where you need to be at the table in some kind of clothes with your teeth brushed in order to eat breakfast. And then on the weekends, whatever happens. We hang out, we watch movies, we do whatever we want. We don't ask anything academic, and that's kind of what's keeping us sane. You should feel flexible to, like, if you want to have a Wednesday weekend and a Saturday weekend and a Friday afternoon weekend, you do whatever you want. It's kind of whatever is going to get you through your day and whatever is going to keep things productive. I've been doing these online workout classes while I've been home, and they always say, like, if you need to do XYZ modification to be able to complete 10, then you do that. And that's kind of applicable to everything we're doing right now. However you need to modify it to get to bedtime, then you do that. So yeah, understand that there's going to be regressions. There's going to be moments that seem like, oh my gosh, is this my kid? Why can we not function like this? Because it's not normal. It's weird, and they know it's weird. It's important to answer their questions with age-appropriate honesty. Our kindergartner doesn't have enough grasp of time to really understand what it means that school might not open up this year, but she does understand what it means to not be able to go back to kindergarten, and that is huge for her. Our second grader kind of gets time, but he's more just frustrated that we're doing this all the time. He wants to do something different, and he would like to just be in charge of himself 24/7 right now. Again, feel free to ask any questions. It's so awkward to talk into this little tiny circle and stare at myself the whole time.
You look at me.
I don't know. I got that mustache going on.
Yeah.
Still so cute though. I want to share just some little things that I've done. And don't take this as like, don't feel pressure. I'm kind of checking out of Facebook lately. There's so many ideas being shared, and I just kind of have to embrace the fact that we have a little thing going. It's kind of working right now. If I need to like dip into some of those resources that are being shared, I can, but this is not about perfection or keeping kids academically going right now. If you can keep them learning something, I think that's great. We did quarantine journals. Each kid has their own. I have one. Elliot even has one. The kids, they have their names on them. Each day, and I can share some things in the comments of this thread later. I've also shared a lot of them. There's an old thread on the forum, and you can go back and look at that, but I can reshare. I found this, and it has been incredibly helpful for us. It's my daily learning projects. It is something works for us because I don't want to have a thing that says from this hour to this hour we will do this activity, at this time we'll switch to that activity. Mentally for me, I can't do that, and it will bother me when it doesn't play out right, so I don't want to be stuck on something like that. The first week we did this, every night I would make the next day's checklist, and that was awful. So now I do it on the weekend. I include a physical thing. Some days that's doing our live jiu-jitsu class with Daddy. Some days it's doing pull-ups on our little climbing dome. On sunny days we run in our neighborhood. Things like, our kids kind of are into like, 25 squats, 25 jumping jacks, whatever. Things that are focused but also fun. The live feed that Mo Willems is doing every day, and it's also available on YouTube, the Doodle with Mo Willems. He's a really famous children's author and illustrator. That's on our list a lot of days. I'll share some more of the resources in a second, but I like this format. It lets me know what day it is, because literally right now I need to know that it's Tuesday, because it's just too easy to forget. So I have these checklists let me put the date. I circle the day of the week, and the kids can come back and they can mark things off. The first week I was really into like, we need to check everything off. It's week 3. I'm understanding that we're not going to mark everything off. Some days we're not going to get these things done, but Ty built a bird trap back here. I don't know why he's trying to trap birds. And that kept him busy for 20 minutes, and he liked it, and he was being innovative. And my people are coming to interrupt this because that's the reality of being home with kids. So I like this format. Checklist. This would be great for older kids. This would be great if you have a little bit older kids and you're working from home, because you can it can list all your options. We've started in the past week, in the morning at breakfast, the kids kind of sit down and kind of make an order of how they want to do things. A school packet is always on it, and it's just a few things that are at their level. It generally takes 20 to 30 minutes, and that's the only like focused table time really that we have during the day. I've had baking stuff on here. We did a thing where I stood back, and with many deep breaths, I let the kids do a recipe by themselves. So they learned how to like read the measuring spoons. They dumped everything in on their own, and I centered my chi, and they turned out okay. They were really proud of themselves, and my second grader is going to be learning fractions soon, so he was learning how to read the measuring cups and measuring spoons.
Fractions, what's your attraction?
And whatever you gotta do to stay sane if Elliot needs to sing you a fraction song. So yeah, I like this way of doing it. If a schedule works, do a schedule. If you have older kids that can work independently, I think this is great, because
can you show it to us a couple more times?
Yeah, I can show you again. I like this way of doing it. If a schedule works, do a schedule. If you have older kids that can work independently, I think this is great, because
can you show it to us a couple more times?
Yeah, I can show you again. It can be something that can be formatted to, if this, then that. So if you do X amount of physical stuff, then you get to do however much screen time. Or if you do this academic screen thing that is through school, then you can do whatever more preferred activity. Find your currency, find what works for your family. What else do I want to talk about? So and also on this list is a chore. Our kids over the summer, they have a daily chore. We're pretty loosey-goosey with it during the school year because they're young and we're busy, and we kind of do them here and there. But summer chores are back, and I live for kids doing chores. So I had kids. Clean that bathroom. Life skills. I don't know. Don't look too closely at the bathroom. Gather eggs. Just things that are the stuff that needs to get done that they can be in charge of. And it lets them have a little ownership. For our kids, that includes like listening to read aloud books. I'll kind of use that as my segue into actual resources online. Just some random things, and I can add them into the comments later, but Storyline Online, if you search that on YouTube for younger kids, it's famous people reading storybooks. Fun for grown-ups, because you're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so from my favorite show is reading my kids Arnie the Donut. And the kids are excited because someone who reads it a lot better out loud is reading it to them with accents and different voices. And they use the book's illustrations, they animate it a little bit so that it's moving, but it is the original illustrations. Secretly kind of fun to sit and watch. Duolingo is doing free kids language stuff right now. Believe any language. I think Rosetta Stone has opened up their language selection for a certain amount of time. Time magazine has a children's magazine, Time for Kids, and that is free right now. You can set it up by, I think there's a kindergarten, first grade, and then a second grade, and then a third, fourth, and then a sixth, seventh, eighth, I believe. It's free right now. You get a weekly edition. You can, it can be something your kids read. It can be something your kids read and you ask them to do something based on it. There are oodles and oodles of free music lessons online right now, free art lessons. We love Mo Willems. He did all the Knufflebunny books and all the Piggie and Gerald books. There's our second grader. He's turning, how old are you turning?
8.
In how many days?
23 days.
No one's counting. 23 days. It's fine. Had to cancel his birthday party. Oh wait, who else is here though? Come say hi. Wait, scooch in. Scoot your little...
Scoot
they
your
can't see you.
They can't
see yourself.
Scooch. Oh, look at yourself. Oh, there's our kindergartner, Hannah. How old are you?
5.5.
5.5. Oh, look at, hi Angel. Hi Kristen. Hannah says, where is Angel? What was they saying? Oh, art lessons. I don't know how you say his name. I think you say it Dav, I don't know, Pilkey, the guy who did Dogman, and I think he also did Captain Underpants. He's doing free drawing stuff online right now. Everything is opening up to be free and or like extending their trial period. Utilize that stuff. Utilize that stuff for when you're working at home and you need 30 minutes of your kid to be on a screen. Do not look at the AAP guidelines on screen time right now. Be nice to yourself. Survive. It's okay. Every kid's in the same, well, not every kid's in the same boat, but every kid is not at school right now. And if you are providing any kind of supplemental activity for your kid, then you're doing great. We this morning kind of had an interesting scenario pan out that I learned is a great resource, and that is Ty had to do a diorama for school, and it was going to be due today, and it was based on an animal project that they've been doing in school. Our school is really great about really emphasizing that parents should not be doing projects. The kids had a sheet they were supposed to fill out to kind of plan how they were going to do it, what materials they needed, and then they were supposed to do it. That was the only at-home part of this project. They have been working on this animal project really extensively for the last few weeks before school closed. And yesterday Ty filled out the planning sheet. This morning I said, you go find whatever is going to work in our house. I'll show him in just a second, buddy. I said, you find whatever's going to work in our house. For the first time, I plugged in our hot glue gun and let him do it mostly alone until I realized that he was going to light a rag on fire by letting the hot glue gun lay on it. But he did an amazing job, and I'm putting that in my back pocket for next week or something, because I didn't order anything from Amazon. I didn't go buy anything. I said make it work, and he totally did make it work. And here, I'll show it to you. What is your animal, Tai Tai?
It's a bald eagle.
And so the project was that you're supposed to create a diorama that was as realistic as possible. And he literally just used like paint, little things from our art bins, rocks that we have. We found this eagle. We were going to make a cutout and put it on cardboard, and he rigged it so what can the eagle do?
So then it can
the eagle can fly.
And from maybe 10 feet away, it looks like it's actually just hovering right there by
because you
itself.
can't see the string
Yeah,
if you
it's
get farther
really,
away,
really
right?
thin.
Yeah. So, I mean, learning can be about that process. Pick an animal, tell your kid to go find some stuff, look it up on the internet, and have them figure out where that animal lives.
I never looked anything up on the internet.
Ty did not use the internet because it was an at-school project. They did research using articles and books.
We could use stuff on the iPad, but I only used books.
Cool.
Sweet.
Let Mom talk. Thanks for sharing.
So I will share some more things in the comments, actual links. I've seen a 30-day Lego challenge. Every day, NASA says they need a new spaceship and you need to design it. Design your dream house. Different things like that. Yesterday we watched some videos about how yeast works, and we did a sourdough starter for friendship bread. And I mean, it can be, the learning that we're doing at home right now can be intentional. It does not have to be a full day. And forgive yourself for whatever's happening. And if something doesn't work today, just don't do it tomorrow. Change it. Your kids will learn. Your kids will probably, on some level, enjoy your time together. We're kind of getting to the point in this where I've realized a couple of things. One is that it's going to feel really weird not to do this anymore. I don't like change, so when we go back to regular life, I think it's gonna feel super weird. And last week I actually kind of asked Elliot and the kids, when we go back to like regular life, what are we gonna miss of this time? What are the things that we're doing right now that we actually kind of like? Elliot and I have been doing these like online workouts together, and
They suck.
Yeah, they do.
They're amazing.
Not gonna do those anymore.
2 classes on Tuesday and Thursday. So I might kind of miss that. I don't know. But
You can still
these are things to think about. And like I said, my main takeaway is just to be kind to yourself. Expectations may need to be lowered. Be flexible, and reach out to each other on here, whoever your people are. I am really loving that when I get a random text from someone that I would kind of normally see in day-to-day life, not my best friend or anything, but people I see at school that just say like, hey, how you doing? And we don't have a big long exchange, but it lets me say, oh yeah, like things are getting kind of funky around here. We're doing a lot less each week, but we're hanging in, and it lets us share that. And they usually say like, oh yeah, me too. Unplug when you need to. Stay informed, but understand that you don't need to be clicking every article. If that helps you stay sane, to back away from that, you should do that. Feel free to comment on this with any questions. If you have any great resources that you've loved and have been really helpful for your family, please share. I'll share some links and some things that you're welcome to use. If you ever, another thing that I kind of just suggested to someone yesterday, and I'm not sure how to like keep playing out, but if you want your kid to connect with another kid, I think that's really cool. Like a friend of mine that is working from home while her essential worker husband is not, and she's at home with a 2nd grader and a preschooler, and kind of feeling like she's going to lose her mind and feeling guilty that her kid's not doing that much academic. I said that her child could write my child a letter, and my child would write a letter back. We've been doing a lot of letter writing because our kids will buy into that kind of writing. They're kind of invested in it. I can sit there and kind of prompt them with questions, and they're learning how to write a letter. Kids don't write letters very often anymore. So if you want to have your kid write Elliot a letter, send us a message. We'll give you our address. Have them write a letter. Prompt them with what letter writing looks like. If you want to write our kids a letter or whatever works for you, those are great things. Hannah wrote a letter to Pete the cat on Friday because Pete the cat is a big part of her kindergarten classroom and she misses him. My uncle is an ER doctor and working really hard right now. The kids wrote him a letter. Things like that. For a kindergartner. This is letter writing paper that I can share. Our goal for kindergarten is 3 sentences. This is a journal entry from when we watched the Cincinnati Zoo home safari, which is amazing. I love it. I learned a ton. Hi, someone called me. I learned a ton watching home safari, and when we watch it, the kids need to fill a journal page. So that was my kindergartner's paper. I have 2nd grade paper that I can share also that is a lot longer and it has a front and a back. These are all ways to stay connected to people, keep your kids engaged, and it is learning, you know, a little bit of writing, a little bit of math, a little bit of life stuff. That's all we got to do right now. I hope everyone's hanging in okay. I know Elliot's offered many times if you want to have your kids FaceTime with him because they want to stay connected to their coach, they're welcome to. If you want to, you can. If you want to like FaceTime with us, if your kids want to connect with our kids, it's all good.